We're in one of America's oldest cities here in Savannah, Georgia, surrounded by amazing architecture, some really wonderful homes that date back to the 1800s and 1700s, town squares, and did I mention a lot of photo opportunities. We're going to go down by the river all the way to Forsyth Park, which is home to that iconic fountain. And other great news I have for you, you don't need to go out and spend a fortune on great camera gear, because I'm using the camera that I believe you're all using, which is a smartphone. I happen to have the new iPhone 13, which I'm going to show off some of their new features, but everything I'm doing, pretty much you can do with your smartphone. Some quick geography notes. Savannah is at the bottom of the state of Georgia. It's about a 4-hour drive from Atlanta, very close to Hilton Head Island in South Carolina, and just up the way from the Florida state line. On this Photowalk episode, as always, I'll give you my ideas on the best photo spots and offer input from locals as well. Let's begin with Shannon from Visit Savannah. I've done Photowalk episodes many places, and there's always driving. You always have to, you can walk down the street, but you're going to have to get in the car.
Yeah.
Right? But here, it's Photowalk with a capital P.
Yeah.
You just start down at the river, Bull Street, walk up, and just explore the side streets and have a ball.
Yeah, I always tell people, we get a lot of questions if it's Savannah about what's the best way to get around, and I always say, just walk. Just get on 2 feet. You want to go as slow as possible in Savannah. The last thing you want to do is get in a vehicle. You want to stroll, and if you're not going to stroll, you can walk faster. If you're not going to do that, maybe get on a bike. If you're not going to do that, maybe get in a slow moving vehicle like a trolley or something like that. And then the absolute last way that you want to see the city is from a car, because it's too fast. You can't take everything in.
Now let's run down the greatest hits photographically of Savannah.
Because I am a photographer, Forsyth Park is one of them. Jones Street, and I would probably say River Street.
Forsyth Park is home to the iconic fountain that we've been discussing, while Jones Street is where you're going to find the best collection of historic homes in Savannah. And then you've got the waterfront with all the shops, restaurants, ferries, and of course, that great view.
And then my personal favorite is Hutchinson Island. I think that it gives you a really unique perspective of River Street by being across the river.
But we're going to go there tonight to shoot the skyline. That's the best place.
Yeah,
right?
I like to take the ferry across the river because it's free, and it's a really nice way to kind of get on a boat and cross the river and do something a little more fun than just driving across the bridge.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so for the fountain here, a lot of people like to take this picture.
And I think being here in the morning is the best time, personally.
Yeah. It was pretty great. A little dark, but
Yeah.
Of course, I was here at 5:30. I wasn't here at 7.
Yeah. We, for Savannah's birthday this past year, we did an initiative where it was the 288th birthday. And so we wanted to stage a really beautiful visual kind of content experience for our team. So we came out here at 3 o'clock in the morning and put 288 luminaries, which are paper bags with a candle. It was battery operated, but a candle in it. And we set them up all around the fountain and came out and captured it and captured the sunrise as it was happening. It was really beautiful and amazing. But it was a lot of work, and it was very cold and very early.
Quick recap, we're going to start down at the waterfront as we head up to Forsyth Park, but do know this. So the fun thing about this photo walk is getting off the beaten path and checking out the side streets. There's more historic homes the more you explore. I love this gas lamp over here and the whole architecture. So much to see here. As you make your way up Bull Street, that old pink house is going to stick out on your walk because when's the last time you saw a pink Victorian? Now let's talk squares. There's 22 of them in Savannah, and while they may frustrate drivers, they do make for the most pleasant of strolls. Chippewa Square is where Forrest Gump sat on a park bench for much of the movie. The bench, however, has since been moved to a local museum, so don't bother looking for it in the square. Also missing, the iconic Bird Girl statue that was seen on the cover of the Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil book. It's on display at the Telfair Academy Museum. It used to be at the Bonaventure Cemetery, a must-stop that's not on this walking tour, but more on the cemetery in a moment. Clary's is the classic cafe that was also seen in the Midnight movie. It still stands and has a great stained glass portrait of the Bird Girl statue. The homey place is worth both photographing and stopping in for a bite. Check out my brother's breakfast. He had the Oglethorpe: eggs, pancakes, biscuit, grits, and sausage. You'll want to check out the Mercer Williams house from the outside. It's a classic mansion that was also featured prominently in the Midnight book and movie. Native son Johnny Mercer, the lyricist of Moon River, Satin Doll, and many other classics, never did live here, but it was commissioned by his great-grandfather, a general in the Civil War. Alert! They won't allow photographs inside, so skip it. We'll be taking you to another museum which is photographer-friendly, the Owens-Thomas House, in a minute. And be sure to check out the Mikveh Israel Temple, which dates back to 1733. It's the third oldest Jewish synagogue in the United States. It's also a massive project to photograph, so be sure to have your ultra-wide-angle lens. Now about that cemetery. It's 3 miles from downtown Savannah, so it would take you about an hour to walk there, or you could drive. Photographer alert, another one of them. They open at 8 and close at 5, on the dot. I learned this when I arrived at 5:01. I was too late to enter, but I did love what I got of the statues outside the cemetery. Now let's meet that outgoing real estate agent who makes those wacky YouTube videos all about Savannah. Well, gosh, you'll never guess where we are. Would this be Savannah, Georgia?
This would be Savannah, Georgia.
And would you be Karin, the lady I've seen on YouTube telling everybody all about Savannah?
That is true.
With all those funny videos?
Alexa, Alexa on the desk. Which city in Georgia is the best?
You're going to tell us all about Savannah and maybe talk a little bit about what you think some of the most photogenic places in Savannah would be.
Okay, great.
Right, so you're going to lead the way. So
Sounds
why
good.
don't you start walking this way and I will follow you.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Karin and I started on Broughton Street, which is Savannah's main shopping and dining district. Describe Savannah to the folks out there who've never been here.
It's historic, it's spooky, it's kind of like New Orleans, how it's got that haunted vibe to it. So they say that Savannah is the most haunted city in the U.S. I always thought that New Orleans would be, but apparently Savannah is even more so. See that CVS pharmacy across the street? Apparently the upstairs used to be the courthouse, and now it's the CVS pharmacy. But if you went to court because you were accused of murder and you were found guilty, they immediately marched you out of the building across the street and they hung you in that square right there.
Oh,
so
boy.
there are apparently hundreds of people buried underneath that square, and now it's a CVS.
Yeah, and so if anybody wants to hang you, you might get a little medicine, make it not feel as bad before you go in, right?
Oh, some of these homes are amazing. They are, I think the oldest home in Savannah is around 300 years old. The majority of the houses in the historic district are at least 100 to 120 years old. They're the tall and skinny kind. They have beautiful ornate woodwork in there, like the mantle around the fireplace is to die for. The ceiling medallions around the chandeliers are great. So we talked about Johnny Mercer before.
Yes.
And I was going, okay, I got to think of all of the Johnny Mercer songs that you would know. So Moon River.
Moon River, Hooray for Hollywood.
Autumn Leaves,
Is the ice
Hooray
cream
for
as great as they say? Or better? So this place is so popular we can't even get in, right?
Well,
Well,
yeah, there's
no
a
space.
line.
There's no space.
Well, you gotta open the door first.
Okay.
Remind everybody what you'll be getting.
It's a toss-up between coconut and praline, but I think I'm going to have to go with praline.
I'm chocolate chewy.
Chocolate chewy is free?
Yes.
No allergies?
No allergies.
And is it like
Sugar, a single.
a single and a sugar coat?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. Did you got yours?
Anything rude. Cheers!
Yeah. Kona. Okay, Karin, so you're running, I know, I'm a total mess here.
I'm so glad you got the cone and I got the cup.
Yeah, I'm just dripping away. The humidity has nothing to do with
Nothing
it.
to do with it at all.
But it's really great. Cookies and what did I get? Chocolate creamy or something?
Chocolate chippy and
Yeah,
cream.
really great. It was worth the whole drive. It was only 4 hours to get here. And it was worth it just to come to Leopold and to meet you. This is so much fun. I know you've got to run. You've got to pick up the kids. You've got to go back home. But we're going to keep on going. We're going to go check out one of the historic homes.
Wonderful.
And we're going to check out your website. Remind everybody, youtube.com/
Karin Carr Real Estate.
Okay, that's the YouTube channel.
Yep.
All right, and on the web, you're?
GeorgiaCoastHomes.com.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to walk that way. You're going to
All
walk
right.
this way. So let's get a shot of us walking away, saying goodbye.
All right.
Bye, Karin.
Bye. So
Thanks
good to
again.
meet you. Thank you. Have a safe drive back. Bye, everybody.
Now let's go check out what one of the great old Victorian homes looks like on the inside.
So this house was built from 1816 to 1819 for Richard Richardson, who was a merchant here in Savannah.
Visiting gives us a chance to see how the wealthy shared their quarters with their enslaved labor once upon a time. And for us photographers, we get a big bonus. They said yes to photography.
Okay.
Lighting is really good here, right?
Okay.
Right? Really nice. When the museum told us this was by far the most popular photo spot in the house, we of course had to give it a try, right? Love those columns, love those stairs. Next, we headed outside to the carriage house where the enslaved people lived. This is now a museum dedicated to documenting the experience. Well, it's like a nice house, doesn't it?
It does, but then you have to remember you're living with anywhere from 9 to 14 people. And that you're working from sun up to sundown, hardly getting any sleep. And chances are, in this house, you're under the age of 10.
Really? Now, I live in California. We don't have a lot of things like this to see. Why do you think it's important for people to come visit slave quarters?
I think it's important for people to understand the history of what's occurring here, to understand the actual living conditions. It allows you to be more empathetic, I think, if you have a sense of people's living space.
If you don't mind. Right over here. Oh, this is great.
And then we have these accounts here.
So wait, people are more empathetic about what life was really like?
Yeah. It's easier to put yourself in somebody else's shoes if you have a chance to look and see.
One of the unique things about Savannah, what you just mentioned, and then all the bodies buried under buildings, right?
Right.
That's why they call it a ghost town.
Yes.
Have you seen any ghosts here at the museum?
No.
No. Nobody's tapped you on the shoulder?
Nope.
No.
No. It's actually one of the sort of most sedate historic properties that I've worked on in terms of that kind of stuff.
Speaking of ghosts, it's big business in Savannah. Is that marketing?
I don't do ghosts. No, I don't do ghosts. No. I leave it up to the experts.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Ghosts is not my thing.
My dad used to own a store down here called Cobblestone Lane Antique Mall, and he said that he used to stay during nights because like he had to watch over the store sometimes during like holidays and stuff. And there was this one day that there was a bunch of picture frames and records that he used to have because it was like antique, so he's, you know, a little bit. Okay, so he had a lot of records against the wall, and all of a sudden, like even the mirrors just fell over at the same time. Like it was crazy. And he had it on video, and he showed me, and I was little. So it was just really crazy to me.
He blames it on the ghosts.
He does, because he thinks that there were ghosts there too. He gets scared too. So photo tips, most of the shots I've done of the historic buildings have been taken on the ultra wide lens, which is the third lens on most current phones. I could not capture the entire house with the normal wide lens. And the other thing is the monuments have mostly been taken vertically. Generally, I prefer horizontal because when you go vertical, you lose both sides of the shot, and I don't like doing that. But with a monument that goes up into the sky, there's really no other way of doing that. I've shot
this entire video on the new iPhone 13, which has what's called cinematic mode, which blurs the background. The open sign back here is blurry, like in portrait mode. That is the selling point for the iPhone 13. That's enough for me to want to upgrade. One thing to know that when you are in cinematic mode, you don't have the 3 lenses, you have 1 lens. You're not going to telephoto and you're not going to ultra wide. They say that the ultra wide camera is better in low light. I didn't see it. Also to note, you can only shoot cinematic mode in 1080p, not the higher 4K resolution. The rack focus feature that selectively focuses a portion of the image works pretty well, sometimes. See it struggle to keep the sign in focus here? I loved macro. Here's my door at the Thunderbird Hotel and my macro image of the peephole. You can shoot your footage in higher resolution HDR Dolby Vision video, which includes cinematic mode, but let me tell you, it's a bear to edit. I recommend turning it off. For the average shooter, you're gonna see very little difference with the new cameras if you've got a recent iPhone. The improved low light promised by Apple doesn't really deliver, at least not to my eye, and the ultra-wide camera lens is still distorted by the edges. But if you shoot video like I do, you gotta have it. Beyond the history, Savannah also happens to be home to one of the great guitar makers, Benedetto Guitars. They make really fine jazz guitars. I happen to be an owner. We're going to go over and visit their factory, take a look at how they're making guitars. You might hear a little musical jam as well.
How's it going? It's great to see you, Jeff.
Same here.
Good to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back again. See what happens when people come to visit, even though it's appointment only?
That's right.
They get it in their system that they have to have one of these.
Well,
and maybe 2 and 3, right?
Well, let's see what we got inside for you.
Okay. So here's a guitar all ready to go out, huh?
That's right.
These are all prototypes.
Or examples of instruments that are standard in every way.
Howard showed us around, taking us to the wood, the main ingredient for any guitar. So this wood here will become a guitar?
No, that looks like it's going to become a shelf.
The good stuff was actually behind these doors.
Guitars.
Now, why is it so hot in here?
We humidify and heat, or dehumidify and heat the space so that the wood is always in a process of curing. The idea is for there to be no humidity in the guitar.
This is a guitar back?
That's half of a guitar back.
Half of the guitar back.
It takes 2 of those pieces to make 1 bag. And so this stuff is cured for many years.
Some wood in this room dates back to the 1990s, believe it or not.
You're kidding me. 1994, there's a 1989 behind it. Wood.
When's it ready?
Drying. Well, it's probably ready now for the right guitar.
And once that decision is made, it leaves the hot room and the artisans start crafting the wood into works of art, carving and sanding and painting before putting them on for sale for thousands of dollars.
The necks are all being built. So this is, these are our spray booths.
Here's the room where they hang the guitars after they've been painted to dry. Photo op time! High-end jazz guitar manufacturer in Savannah, Georgia. Put those two together, how does that happen? Because this is not exactly the market. If you think of Savannah, this would be not the primary market for high-end jazz guitars.
True.
Would it be?
Yeah, no, it would not be. Although we do sell a few in town, shockingly. Yeah. I think you can build these instruments anywhere you can attract great builders, and the wood is not coming from anywhere locally anyway. I was living here because I was assigned here in the military, met my wife, decided to stay and settle here, and during that time period I met Bob Benedetto, started playing his guitars, became a sort of a minor Benedetto artist of his, and then in 2006 he asked me if I would be his business partner, and my wife said, sure you will, but you're not leaving Savannah.
Okay.
So that's why we're here in Savannah.
What is it about Savannah that you love?
I love everything about this town. It has the cultural diversity and charm of a big city with a major art school, lovely museums, a pretty thriving music scene. But there are only, maybe 160,000 people, and so I know all of them. I know the mayor. I know the last 3 or 4 mayors. I know the bankers and the city councilmen and the architects and the musicians and the club owners, and so it's a small enough town to get really involved in the community, but it's got a very cosmopolitan feel for a little town in the deep South.
How many guitars come out of the shop?
About 100 a year.
100 a year.
Yeah, maybe I'm working up to 120, but I'm a little short of help right now.
And Jez guitars are still selling?
They're still selling, yeah. And right now, if you ordered one, it would take 10 to 12 months to get it.
I want to thank you to having us here, and we should probably just close out on one more little tune.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming
This
and
was
joining
fun.
me. Yeah.
Logic says if you want to shoot the skyline of Savannah, will you stand here and take pictures of the buildings? A way better idea, take a ferry, go to the other side of the island before it takes off, and we'll get it over there. Come on, let's go. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Pretty nice city view over here. It was easy to get to. The ferry was free. We didn't have to worry about parking. I'm going to wait about 10 minutes for the buildings to turn their lights on. I think that's when it's going to be a really nice shot. But the key is getting out, walking around. You never know what you're going to see. This was an easy way to capture the skyline. We're closing off today's photo walk from Savannah. I'm thanking everybody for watching. Love Savannah, can't wait to get back. It's a really special city, unlike many that I've been to before. It's one of the great cities of the world, like Paris and New Orleans, Los Angeles, San Francisco. So I hope that you want to come visit. I hope I've helped you find some great photo spots. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Look for me on Twitter or Instagram, where I'm at Jefferson Graham. So you can see a detailed mapping route of our today's photo walk on our website, which is photowalkstv.com. Please stay tuned, watch more episodes, and I'll see you on the next photo walk. Bye-bye, everybody.